Welcome all my real foodies. How you doing today? Tom here in the kitchen once again. It is 11 a.m. California time. Welcome if you're joining us live. Kind of a crazy day weather we've been having this last week. It's been raining off and on, about 65 degrees here in Southern California. Don't know where you're actually coming from, but here it's crazy weather. And the light kind of goes in, kind of goes out. So it looks like everything's probably cool as far as light-wise goes, but in my kitchen here, it seems relatively dark. All right. So anyway, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be doing something with leftovers, shredded pork taquitos. All right. And as with everything that I do, I have this idea. Okay, I just kind of whip something together here. Boom, be ready, set up, done. But then I start adding stuff. I just go, oh, if I do that, I got to have this. I got to have this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to be doing some shredded pork taquitos, relatively simple. I'm going to add a little bit of homemade guacamole in that as well, because taquitos without guacamole just does not work for me. All right. And this is really based around some leftovers that I had from New Year's Day. Tradition around here is we bake pork and sauerkraut. Don't know if you guys have ever had that before. It's a kind of an old Pennsylvania Dutch tradition. You just kind of cook a pork roast, a pork butt, pork shoulder in the crock pot with some sauerkraut and then with some mashed potatoes, and just everything just gets piled on top of the mashed potatoes. I know some of you are probably thinking to yourself, Tom, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my whole entire life. All right, well, that being said, I have a lot of pork left over. And what happens is we will eat the pork and sauerkraut a couple days afterwards, but you kind of grow tired of the whole pork and sauerkraut thing. So when that happens, we try to look for other alternatives. And one thing, our go-to is always the shredded pork taquitos, because you can use the stuff up. It's great, completely different than the pork and sauerkraut, obviously. Also, one disclaimer too, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I am not Mexican. All right, I never claimed to be Mexican. As a matter of fact, I've never had Mexican food until I was 19 years old when I moved out here to the West Coast from Pennsylvania. That being said, I have a much respect for Mexican food and the Mexican people and everything they create. And I don't know how I lived without it for so many years. And this is just kind of my take on it, my version of the taquito. I'm sure it's not done precisely to the way they do it in TJ or anywhere else in Mexico. But it is kind of gets you in the ballpark, and it is rather darn good. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Enough talking, Tom. Hi, Alan. How you doing? Nice to see you here. Playing hooky from work today, I see. That's always nice. So here's what I got. This is a big old slab of pork shoulder, pork butt. Not real pretty, I understand that. And it's kind of funny, before I even cooked this the other day, I lopped off a piece of about 2 pounds. This was about 9 pound roast. I cut 2 pounds off, ground it up, made some sausage out of that. So that was number one. Then I made the pork and sauerkraut, and I'm going to make taquitos. So really 3 different meals out of this one pork shoulder. All right. So I'm just going to cut off a piece of this right now, and I'm going to just work with that. All right. And if you see any gristle or anything that's just kind of standing out on its own, you can cut that off. But for the most part, I'm just going to put it in the food processor just as this is. All right. And I'm going to chunk it up first of all, so we don't run into too many problems. All right. And this is just came out of the fridge, so it's still relatively chilled, which is good. All right. I don't want to use all this because I'm going to probably want to have some more pork and sauerkraut here. But anyway, this should be enough here just to get at least a dozen taquitos, I'm going to guess. So I'm going to put this off to the side here. All right. And then I'm going to throw this in the food processor, just like this. Just kind of shred it up, if you will. Back here's where all the magic happens, right here on the food processor, okay, in case you didn't know that. All right. And we'll see how much we have here once we shred this up. And then we'll just kind of go from there. Okay, there's a big chunk floating around in there. All right. All right, so let's Just kind of dump this in a bowl. There's another big chunk there. There's a couple of chunks in here. I may have to redo this. Not redo it, but just... And this ground up. This is ground up pretty good right here. A lot of fat sometimes in this. So if that's an issue for you, you don't want to load it up with all that fat. You can go through it and kind of trim the meat up a little bit. Me personally, I think it's where all the flavor is myself. Okay, this does not go into taquitos. Okay, this is the grinder. This is the grinder for the meat for you newbies here. All right. So there you go. And once these cook through, I mean, all that flavor from the pork, it's just going to blend all through there. I'm going to throw these back in here just a little bit and just use this up. All right. Use all that goodness. All right. So there you go. So we're going to throw that in there. So now whatever you add to this is entirely up to you. All right. So I'll let you know what I'm gonna put in this, and you guys can kind of decide accordingly. Let me rinse my hands off because they are awfully greasy. All right. So here's what we have. So a couple things. I like to add some salsa. Okay. I usually use some paste picante sauce just to kind of give a little bit of flavor here. Okay, you can use whatever your salsa you want. I just had a little bit of that, not too much. And then I was out the other night, had some takeout Mexican, and they gave me some little salsas here. So I'm going to put a little of this in, but obviously taste it before you put it in. Make sure it's not too spicy. This here, the green is a little bit spicy, so I'm just going to add a little of that. All right, and then some shredded cheese. Mixed cheese, that's always good. All right, and then as far as spices, I mean, this is good to go just as it is, all right? I'm going to add a little bit of cumin to this, not too much, just a little bit. A little bit of cumin, a little bit of paprika. All right, not too much. Just a little bit of flavor. All we're going to do is add a little bit of flavor. And then a little garlic salt, garlic powder, whatever you got laying around. And then, of course, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. All right, a little bit of salt. Just got this for Christmas, salt and pepper, electric. I don't know how I lived all these years. I think I've been behind the times, but I'll tell you, it's really a nice little thing to have laying around. Plus, it's kind of cool looking too, right? All right, so there you go. That's all I'm going to put in my taquitos. That's it, okay? I'm going to mix this up really good. Simple, right? Going to mix it up. Like I said, if you want to add more stuff into this, I don't know what that would be, but or add less. Entirely up to you. And usually I make a bunch of these and throw them in the freezer, all right? Because they will keep forever. All right, so that's mixed up pretty good. So here's what we're going to do. Take that off to the side. I'm going to clean up my mess here, so we can start rolling a few of these things. I don't know what I do with my... there we go. Let's clean up our little mess here. All right. So the only thing you really have to do now is to roll these bad boys up into taquito form. I'm using just a basic corn tortilla, if you will. Now, for these, see, now this one's cracked already, so that's probably not even going to work. But when you're rolling these, the best advice I can give you is to don't roll them cold, or not even at room temperature. Warm them up a little bit, because they will tend to crack, and even sometimes when you're rolling them up when they're a little warm, they will tend to crack as well. So I'm going to pop these in the microwave for, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 seconds, just to warm them up, and then start rolling from there. All right? And then we'll do a couple of these, get them ready, so that when we cook, put the the grease into the pan, fry them up. We'll just pop them all right in, cook them all at one time. All right, so let's go ahead and put these in the micro for about 12 seconds and see how that actually works out. Okay, any questions so far? Pretty simple, right? Of course it is, Tom. Keeping it simple. So what we're going to do, we're going to fry these in a pan of oil, and you can also use, instead of oil, you can use lard. I'm using a combination of oil and bacon grease. I know that sounds crazy, right? I save my bacon grease. Every time I make bacon, always save the bacon grease, all right? Great for making refried beans, or just this right now, cooking things like this. Always good. Carnitas, always good to fry up some carnitas as well. Okay, so there we go. That's probably been about 20 total seconds. So let's see where we're at with these. And let's roll one of them up and kind of see. All right. So there you go. So this is relatively warm. This one's cracked as well too. So we're going to start with one of them anyway, because we've got to start sometime, right? And you can make these as big or as small as you want. I like starting kind of on one end and just kind of rolling them up like that. See, you know, this one's cracking. You got to be careful of that. But don't give up. Put it in the pan like that. Now that's not a good one. So if all these continue like this is not going to be good. All right? Let's try another one here. Okay, in there, flip it over, there we go, like that. All right, so that's not good. Okay, this is not good right now, what we're seeing. So because it is a live show, we have to just muscle on through it, right? And whatever happens, happens. Hopefully we get a couple out of here, because I don't want to waste all this good meat. So let's roll it again. Yeah, these are not having it. These are not having it. That was a little bit better. All right, put another one in here. Try it again. There you go. I just want to get something in here so I can show you guys the actual frying technique that we have going here. But hey, sometimes stuff happens. All right. So I may have to abort these, and let me see what we have here. I got some other tortillas here. Maybe these are a little bit better shape. I don't know. I don't know. It kind of sucks, really, huh? Let's see where we're at with these. Maybe these are a little bit better. Okay, let's do 20 seconds on those. And that's the thing, this will happen sometimes with the tortillas if they're not really, really fresh. I mean, these were bought fresh and put in the freezer, so they should be fine. I'm kind of surprised. But right now, that looks like crap. I got to be honest with you. It is not up to my standard. If you guys know what my standard is, you guys are probably going, you don't even have a standard, Tom. I know. So let's try these here, a little bit more. Never give up hope, folks. Never give up hope. So while that's going on, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in this pan here and then throw it on over to the stove. A little bit of oil. A little bit of bacon grease right in there like that. And that's what I'm going to use to fry these bad boys up. If, in fact, I get a couple that I can fry up. All right? So that's going to go over here on the stove. I'm going to bring that up to a medium heat. And then as we make those, I will kind of keep you guys in the loop as to what's going on over here. Let's look at these, see if these are any better. We don't know. Okay. All right. Put it in the end there, roll it up. Okay, these are looking a little bit better. Good. Also, too, when you roll these, and you make sure you always put the seam side down, like that. Also, when you cook them, seam side down. So, because they will have a tendency to unroll. And you don't want that to happen, all right? So there you go. So these are, well, don't speak too soon, Tom. But that's really all there is to it. Rolling them up. Don't put too much pressure on them because that's sometimes what makes them crack. But that's really all we're doing. Just kind of putting them in the middle there and rolling them up like that. There you go. And these are pretty meaty too. As you can see, I'm throwing a lot of meating in. Alan, that's a good question. I think probably an air fryer would actually work with these. The main thing is, like I said, securing these is when you put them in there, make sure they don't unravel. So if you put the seam side down, spray them with a little bit of spray, cooking oil, probably be okay, I would think. All right, but these are looking pretty majorly bad. So I'm going to get rid of these. We'll re-roll them. How's that? Maybe not today, but at a later date. I don't want to waste this meat because the carnita meat, or the taquito meat here is good. Okay, but these tortillas, as we say in the cooking world, these tortillas are shit. I just made that up. That's not really a term we use in the cooking world, but you get the idea. So there you go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to be it, okay? So let's, when that oil gets up to temp, we'll go ahead and put them in there. I'll show you guys what's going on there. And hopefully they won't unravel too much. But yeah, it really comes down to the actual tortilla itself. And that first batch I pulled out here, not good. Here's one from the old batch. Let's see if I have any better luck with those. All right. That's what happens when you do something live. You know, I've made these a bunch of times, and I have run into this problem before. All right, so just be careful. Maybe when you warm these, maybe do a little bit of a steam them rather than just pop them in the microwave. Microwave tends to dry them out. So if you want to heat these tortillas up and get them more pliable to wrap your taquito, maybe do a little steam thing. I mean, it's a little bit more involved, but it might not dry these out. They might not crack as easily. All right, so we have our oil heating up here, and that is almost up to temp. All right, and as soon as those go in there, I'm going to pop these in there and just see where we're at. So while that's heating up, I'm going to make up some guacamole. Guacamole! All right. Now, this also, I had some onions, some jalapeno peppers laying around. I figured, okay, well, now all I have to do is just buy an avocado, a lime, a tomato, whatever you want in your avocado, fine with me, all right? But that's what I prefer in my guacamole, as they say. All right, so trying to find a ripe guacamole, a ripe avocado in one day's notice is not always easy to do, but I squeezed every one. And I found one that I think is going to work. It looks good, right? So let's kind of put that right in there like so. Usually when I make guac, I usually use 3 or 4 avocados. Today, 1 avocado. All right. And here's a technique I use. And like I said, I grew up on the East Coast, so guacamole, never even knew what it was, let alone eat it. And then when I knew what it was and saw it, it still took me some time to eat it after that. It just did not look appealing. Avocados, whatever. But you know what? Now, you can't keep it away from me. All right. So let's take our salt. All right. Salt is a major component in guacamole. It just brings out the taste. Not a lot, just a little bit. So what I like to do is I take my potato masher or something and just give it a couple of mashes right in the beginning, like that, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't want to make it really, really creamy, unless that's how you like it. But I just give it, mash it with the salt. Step 1, mash the avocados with the salt. All right? And then to that, I want to give it a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of lime juice. All right, right here, cut our lime up, however you prefer. Wedges, slices, whatever. Not a lot of lime juice. You don't want it to overpower but you do want to give it a little bit of taste. Plus, it keeps it from turning brown so quickly. All right. Now, this lime there has absolutely no juice. All right. But that's okay. That's all I needed. All right, so I'm going to halt the production right here for 1 second because I want to get these taquitos in here. I think the oil is getting hot. So I'm going to throw these in the oil right now. You guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pick some of the better looking ones here. All right. You can hear it sizzle. And we'll put 4 of them in here. This should be exciting, huh? Okay, there's 4 taquitos. Keep an eye on those too. You don't want to burn them bad boys. Okay, so we're going to just do the 4, and hopefully out of those 4, 1 will come out. Because I'm not feeling real confident on those corn tortillas. Anyway, good news is we'll have guacamole to eat. All right, so what else we want to put in there, Tom? Well, I'm going to put a tomato. Like I said, this is just me. Tomatoes are just me. But a lot of people do put tomatoes in their guac. So entirely up to you. Okay. Just a nice small dice is good. Like that. Right in there. Boom, done. All right. What else we got? Well, I had a red onion laying around. I always prefer red. So that's what I'm going to use today. If you don't like onion, leave it out. But I think you almost have to have onion in there. So the Taco Bell in Georgia is the hot tip for Mexican food. I would never have known that, but might be worth a trip over to Georgia to check that out. All right, Alan, you're always full of knowledge, and that's why I enjoy having you be a part of this. All right. What else we got? Oh, a jalapeno. This is from the garden. If you don't like it super hot, don't use a jalapeno. Okay. My dog, you can't see it right now. My dog is right here at my feet, and if I drop one of these jalapenos, not going to be a good thing. Right? Right, Ollie? Okay. So I'm going to put those right in there like that. Also, be very aware, you now have jalapeno juice on your hands, so don't go rubbing your eyes for any stupid reason. Okay, and then before I do that, I'm going to bring these over here and see where we're at on these. And being very careful to flip them and not hurt anything. Let's see, let's take a look. Okay, so there you go. There you go. So what I'm going to do here, after I'm done with this show, and that's what, I mean, golden brown perfectly. That's just how they are, as you can see. All right, that's just what we're looking for right there, golden brown. All right, so they are falling apart a little bit. Not anybody's fault, other than the corn tortillas. All right, so let's get back to the guacamole. We got our tomato, we got our onion, we have our jalapeno. Oh, I had some cilantro laying around. I wasn't even going to mention this, but this is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these before, but they advertise as putting your herbs in here, and then they will keep fresh for weeks. I'm like, no way, because you know, you go buy cilantro, parsley, whatever herb you're buying at the store, you throw it in the fridge in a bag, in like 2 to 3 days, it's all wilted, it's brown, it's moldy, it's whatever it is. I bought one of these a couple of years ago, and I threw this is no lie, I put this cilantro in here, I got to say, at least 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, and I forgot it was even in the refrigerator. I went in there, look at this. This is like the day I bought it, all right? And this is great. So if you guys are on the fence, if you've ever seen one of these, you do a lot of cooking with fresh herbs, because a lot of times fresh herbs get to be expensive. You only use them one time. Get this, you can throw a whole bunch of stuff in here, not just one type of an herb. So I'm going to pull some of this cilantro out of here, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of that in there just because I have it, all right? But this is great. Just fill it up with a little bit of water, let it submerge in there, and you're good to go. All right, so I'm going to turn the heat down on this a little bit. All right. Pull these off the best I can. I'm not really big on the whole cilantro stem thing. And normally I will have cilantro going in my backyard, but now not the season for it, so it's not growing. But all these little types of herbs that I use in cooking, always try to keep a supply somewhere growing on my property somewhere so I don't have to go and go buy herbs every time. All right? Always be aware that you do have stuff on the stove cooking. All right? I'm going to get rid of this here so I can throw these right back in the pan. Let them drain. All right. There you go. Let's see where we're at on these bad boys. I'll do it right in front of you. All right, after I put... Yeah, I have too much crap going on right now, so let me take care of that. Let me get the cilantro. Let me get the cilantro in the guacamole. Like that. All right, boom in there. You think this stuff is easy? Hell no. It started off with like, hey, let's just make some shredded pork taquitos, be in and out of this in 5 minutes. Doesn't happen that way. All right, so let's go ahead and mix that all up. The guac is ready now. Okay, we're good to go on that. That's really all the spices. I'll just put a little bit of salt in. I don't even add pepper. Okay, but there you go. That's good guac right there. So now let's get our taquitos over here. Throw them out in the pan here real quick and see how they look. All right, there you go. I think they're good. So I'm just going to let them drain here. They smell delicious. Okay, so aesthetically, aesthetically maybe not a 10, but hey, who am I to judge? But I got to tell you, I guarantee you, they're going to be good. Okay, famous last words. All right, so there you go. Taquitos and guac. Let them drain for a couple seconds, if you will. But yeah, if you want to do this in an air fryer, Alan, I think that would work. That would probably work. Just keep an eye on them so they don't fall apart. That's my big thing. So they can see they don't look all that great, but I'm going to taste one now because they smell really good. And in order to do that, I'm going to just take one of these. And be very careful. They are hot, but they should be cooked all the way. I'm going to slap some guacamole right on there like that. Okay. So what they lack in appearance, they more than make up in taste. All right? Darn good. A lot of times when you get taquitos out, the meat is pretty much non-existent, right? It's a little tiny thing. It looks like a pencil almost, a taquito about that long. Little pencil. You bite into it, little tiny bit of meat. That's why I like making these at home, is because I can put as much meat in it as I want. So maybe not aesthetically beautiful, but like I said, use some tortillas that are softened, maybe steamed a little bit better. If you have a Mexican market by your house, maybe get some over there, because normally, I mean, some have crack, but not this bad. So today was a bad day as far as tortillas cracking. All right. Let's see. I have some cool electric separator. Yeah, I know. I do. I'm a big gadget guy, Alan, and I try to bring one or two of them out a show. In fact, I may put some links down here to all these different gadgets that I use, because I've had a couple of people ask me about my gadget supply. I have a couple more I'm saving for a little bit later on in the year, all right? But anyway, that's a damn good taquito. So anyway, that's it. Like I said, we had a few stumbles here with that, but as far as the filling itself, the guacamole, A+, as always. The only downfall was the tortillas, but hey, that can all be fixed. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us. If you're not watching this right now live, but if you are watching it sometime, just hit the subscribe button down there for our channel. Also hit the little bell so you know when our live shows are coming up. I'm going to try doing these at least once or twice a week now that we're in 2023. Have some fun, teach you guys a little bit. So anyway, until next time, my name is Tom. We'll see you soon. guys, thanks so much for stopping by our YouTube channel. If you could be so kind as to just hit that like button and also the subscribe button. And then, if it's not too much to ask, hit that little bell so you know when we have new content coming your way. You'll thank yourself in the morning, I promise.